Namaste. Today is Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. A little humid, kind of cool. It's 7:40 in the morning. I'm about just over a mile into my morning walk. And this morning is what I would call a mental health walk. Not necessarily for exercise, but for my mental health, which I've been struggling with this summer. I think this summer is just a lot of things have come together, some in a good way, some in a way that you think, okay, things are coming together, things are settling, and this should be good. And some in one of those hard, cold doses of reality. Just my reality of the overtime that's required of me in the summer. And the fact that it just wears me out. And I don't like it. I think, it's a reality check for me. I'm okay. I go through my phases. But overall, once again, I have a great life. Shame on me for whining. I know that I have everything I need, and people are healthy. I have friends and family, and things are doing well right now. I've been struggling for the last year and a half over a bad divorce being experienced by a family member, and it was heartbreaking. And I'm there to support in a lot of different ways, and that was a little stressful. So now that's settled, so I feel a lot better, as does everyone. Oh my God, really? The vultures are eating the cat food. Dudes, leave the cat food alone. It's not for you. Talk about a Halloween moment, holy moly. See all those vultures. My face is even scarier. All those vultures, I can't stand them. Come on. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Oh, my beautiful little kitties. We feed the feral cats, you see. I don't know if you can see them back there. They want to get to their food, but the vultures have come and they try to get into the food. The volunteers that feed the cats do a good job of sealing it up. Oh, I'm sorry, kitties. I know. Orangey and Blackie. I love orange cats. Oh, that's the normal part of my routine. And a routine that I'm grateful for. We had a heck of a storm here last night. Holy moly. I think it's from the Hurricane Lee moving up through the Atlantic along the East Coast. Thankfully, I'm inland enough that I'm not getting too much. Although we have been hit by hurricanes here. But we've just been getting some brutal weather events. Holy moly, that tree is leaning. I swear it's leaning even more. This is my Halloween walk today. We got vultures. Look at that big scary leaning tree. Yeah, I've been watching this one for a while. Okay. I don't want it to fall. So today, my friends, on my ramble, like I said, I need to do these vlogs for my mental health. I think it feels like I have someone to talk to without judgment. I am fortunate I do have people to talk to, but sometimes it's just better for me to just get it out. I try not to spread too much negativity, and I also try not to spread too much negativity here, just in case somebody comes upon it. And one day, I'm sure my children hopefully will find these, so I don't want to be too intense or too negative, but I do want to be honest. So what's been on my mind is what's usually on my mind, and of course it comes to a peak this time of year. I work in school enrollment, and I work for a Virtual Public Charter School, which is a public school, receives state funding, and it is held to public school standards. And I am no big fan of public schools. However, we want to clarify why that is. It's the bureaucracy behind it. It's a failing system. It was created back in the early 20th century. Schools as we know them today, and they have not been reworked or redone. And they're failing. The schools have been failing horribly. And since COVID, the rise of social media, the rise of the political environment that we're in, all of these things have weighed very heavy on our public school system. And we're finding ourselves with so many children who are displaced academically, who are not learning, of course we've heard about the digital divide, obviously is an aspect that's really come to light, particularly since COVID. But children who do not have educated parents, children who live in poverty, children who, I can go on and on, disadvantaged children who simply don't get enough to eat, who can't sleep at night for fear of harm or injury because they're not being protected, children who don't have a bed, a permanent residence. I can go on and on. Thankfully, we do have a couple of things in place for displaced children, but not enough. And everything that we do have in place is being threatened with politics right now and defunding. And our public schools have become a wealth-generating machine for the higher-ups, when we know that public education should not be, no one should be profiting off of that. And our poor teachers have been leaving in droves. Of course they have. We're not funding them. We're putting so much on them. Sorry. ADHD brain. Ooh, sparkly. They just refilled the pool. It looks beautiful. It's an above ground pool, but it looks lovely. I don't know. It's down there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going through the old trolley lines. This is the old insane asylum I've addressed before. The old power station behind me. Very cool historic area. I love where I live. Okay. So it really brings it home when I'm working 9 hours a day, helping parents find education alternatives for their kiddos. I work with two very distinct groups. The one group is the gifted and talented. Okay, maybe that's the way to put it. And by the way, I don't believe in GT programs. I think that's another thing needs to be done away with. But these kids that parents feel that they're going to be the next soccer star, the next Olympic ice skater, the next famous Hollywood actor, and they have to put all of these things above the child's education. They must be on call for, theater productions or soccer games or hockey games. And these parents feel that, little Timmy and little Susie are going to be the next big thing. They don't have time for a traditional school. So they come to our virtual public charter program and try to enroll, thinking that we're going to say, okay, school's an afterthought. Okay, that's one group that I work with. Then on the other end of the spectrum, I have very desperate families. Some of them are happy, functioning people in society, and their child goes into the public school and for whatever reason is being bullied relentlessly. And for their mental health, they need to remove them from that situation. Schools are unable to help these students or these parents. The scope of the bullying has reached a level that it's almost I don't want to say impossible, it's not impossible, but it's all encompassing where these kids are getting bullied in school, in person, in the flesh, over social media. Social media spreads information to students who are not in your school, who may have been fine for friendships and relationships outside of school, but now all of these things are spread so far and wide, these kids are getting bullied relentlessly. There's no safety at home. Part of that is that parents are allowing social media in their homes, but like I just mentioned a moment ago, we go on and on about the digital divide. These kids need to have access to the interwebs. They need to have access to their learning programs, to their Zoom, for teacher meetings. They need to have access to certain, I don't want to say social media, but the reality is a lot of kids are using YouTube as an educational resource. Schools are using it. Look at Khan Academy. By the way, a wonderful math program, a wonderful program, period. Khan Academy is wonderful. And I think it's a great resource. But that means kids have access to YouTube, okay? And once you get a corner of access, and these kids are very well, I don't know if it's educated, but they understand how to work technology. They understand how to navigate. They also understand how to bypass these really, they're just bogus parental controls. I mean, these kids are bypassing it all the time. I mean, I see my grandchildren, they're all assigned a laptop from school. All their work is done on this laptop, and they're constantly able to hack and get into what they want on that computer, even though it's a school computer and it has all these controls on it. But thankfully, they're young. They're not going to the dark web, which thankfully I know nothing about other than its existence. But I also know that you don't want to go there. But they are accessing things that, in my opinion, young people shouldn't access. Young people, I'm not saying to censor things or anything, but young people don't need exposure to certain things only because of the stress. They don't need exposure to even a lot of the political things that are going on because it's so much propaganda. Why can we not teach our children without constant exposure? We need to protect them. That is another side rant. However, I'm working with people who sometimes feel that this is their last hope. Of course, there's always homeschooling, but again, not everybody can do that. Just like I say, anybody can run a marathon. However, not everybody's willing to do the training and the work. So anybody can homeschool. However, not everybody's able to educate themselves or, access resources or even have the time. Because goodness knows we all need to work and make as much money as possible. And when you are working as a caregiver for your family, an educator for your family, all of the domestic chores that women do for their family, we know they're unpaid. Well, we still have to pay the rent and the grocery bills and everything else. So obviously, this is not something that most families can do. So I spend my day hearing stories where often parents break down. They feel desperate. And of course, we are bound by state funding. Being a public school, there's only so much I can do for them. There's deadlines, and that's what I'm dealing with right now. This week, next week, it's all going to be me explaining to parents, I'm sorry, enrollment has closed, I can do nothing for you. And then they say, but I've been trying to get in for 2 months. And all I can say is, once again, I'm sorry, the deadline, we have closed enrollment and I cannot help you. Enrollment for next year will open up in February. Some people get angry at the messenger, but overall, I don't think that, overall, most people, they just feel helpless. And that's heartbreaking. So, my thoughts on education. I have rambled on, but I'm brainstorming to try to find a way that I can help people, maybe face-to-face, locally, regionally, and making decisions and helping them move forward in a very broken education system. And I hope I can also support and help grow the current education system we have, because we desperately need a public education system. So that's what I'm thinking today. This is my mental health walk, and I'm not going to say I love what I do. I'm not going to say I love my job, but I definitely have a passion for it. And I definitely feel compelled to help others in this realm. I just want to find a way that I can help others rather than being the bearer of bad news. That's what I have to say today. I am not my job, but I am happy. The change of the seasons is coming. Another part of the trail. Ooh. Thank you for listening. Peace.